Hello, my friends. Thanks for being here. Today is the equinox. It's March 20th, 2025. If you are in the northern hemisphere where I am and where I think a lot of you are, it's the vernal equinox. If you happen to be in the southern hemisphere where quite a few of our friends and members are, it's the autumnal equinox. Wherever you are, this is a special day where the light and the dark are of equal length. From here, a change begins. In the northern hemisphere, the days will get longer incrementally starting tomorrow. And of course, in the southern hemisphere, the opposite. So thank you all so much for being here. If you have a tarot deck, which is funny, Kristen Louise Tarot, I have one, actually. I have several. And Christiana comes in and says, yes, it's an addiction, which it sort of is. But, you know, while I'm not really interested in supporting psychic addiction, your tarot purchasing addiction, I'm very happy to help support. So here's what we're going to do this evening. And if you happen to be watching the replay, thank you for being here, and please watch and play along with us. We're going to go right over to Card Cam, first of all, where you can see I've got two cards that really talk about what's happening, the sun and the moon. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, the sun becomes more powerful after today. For those in the southern hemisphere, the moon becomes more powerful. Now, when we think about these seasonal shifts, I think a lot of us are very connected to the season changing. And so if you are in the northern hemisphere, and I think a lot of us here are, not all, this is a time to release the dark and welcome the light. If you're in the southern hemisphere, it's a time to prepare for the darkness and allow that time of darkness to be a time of rejuvenation, discovery, and healing. So the first thing I want you to do, wherever you are, is to think about, as your season changes, what are you releasing and what are you opening up? And I've got my fabulous broom here. And so if you'll just breathe with me for a moment, we are just going to sweep away the old season and welcome the new. So mote it be. So now, something that I will do on this channel at least once a year, if not twice, is my tarot puppet show. On the equinoxes, it is appropriate to do a reenactment of the story of Persephone. At other times in my life, I've done it with living people, and it's been so much fun. But here, I like to do it with tarot. And some of you have seen this before. We use different cards at different times, but there it is. All right. So our story starts with Persephone, who is in a field gathering flowers, singing and praying. But she's not alone in the field. There are a few other people there, including Aphrodite and her son, Cupid. Aphrodite leaned into Cupid and whispered in his ear, and she said, "Shoot an arrow into the heart of yonder dark lord, that he may see this young maiden and fall in love with her." And so Cupid did exactly that. And Hades saw Persephone, immediately fell in love, and took her into the underworld to live with him. Meanwhile, Persephone's mother looks everywhere, not able to find her daughter. She calls out to her daughter, but cannot find her. Finally, fairies come and tell her about Persephone's abduction. They saw it. So, armed with this information, I'm getting my cards mixed up. That's not going to be good. Okay, here we go. Demeter goes to Zeus to beg for him to negotiate a return of his daughter. Zeus says, okay, I will send a messenger, Hermes, to talk with, where did I put them? Okay, here we go. To talk with Hades. And if Persephone has not eaten while she's in the underworld, she'll be able to come home. So, Hermes goes to Hades with this proclamation. But alas, in her time in Hades, Persephone had eaten 6 pomegranate seeds. So a deal was struck that Persephone could spend 6 months on land, above ground, with her mother, and 6 months with Hades as his queen. And so on this day, Persephone makes her journey. In the north, she is welcomed by her mother, and the earth is replenished. In the south, she is welcomed by her consorts, and the earth becomes cold. There you go. All right. So when we think about the equinox, one of the things we absolutely have to think about is balance, because this is the one moment. It's called an equinox because it is equal parts, day and night. And so I would like us to have a conversation. about the cards in tarot that talk about balance. Which cards do you think belong in this conversation? Okay, Persephone definitely belongs here, right? Which cards, and I think you can make up a story about balance with any of the 78, but which cards absolutely would have balance as a keyword? We have, let's see, Christina says temperance, yep. Kristen Louise Tarot also says temperance. Barbie says temperance. Christina says justice. And Barbie says justice. Okay, so we've got justice. Okay. I'm going to argue all of the 2s. Right? I'm going to argue all of the 2s. Martha, good job. Strength. Well done. Oh, 6 of Pentacles. That is one I didn't think about, and you're absolutely right, Mary. Tanya, good to see you. 2 of Cups, absolutely. You know, Kristen Louise, thank you so much for saying that. Here's that 6 of Pentacles, very smart. But as I was going through the cards to pull out the ones that I thought belonged here, I thought about the Wheel of Fortune, and I passed it by. But what do y'all think? Like, I think the Wheel of Fortune kind of belongs there because there is always going to be that balance between good fortune and bad fortune. Good luck and bad luck. Like, I think it sort of belongs there. What do you all think? What about the Chariot, says Barbie? Agreed, yes. And Lovers, says Christina, yes. Okay, I'm going to give you another one, the star. Why? Because she pours water onto water and water onto land. And when we can see her feet, we see her balancing 1 foot on water, 1 foot on land. So there's a balance. Okay, Barbie, we're going to have to talk about the King of Cups. Give me a reason. Why? Why the King of Cups? And let's see. Christina says all twos. Absolutely. So let me know, what does anyone think about the King of Cups? Give me a good reason. Like I can't see it. Because of emotions, you know, I think you can make an argument that any card could talk about balance in some way. I think it's interesting if, like, emotional balance, right? And I wouldn't say that I would look at the King of Cups necessarily and see emotional balance necessarily, but I see where you're coming from with that. And I would also say, like, there's something instructive there for you, Barbie. There really is. I'm not sure what it is, but there is something there. I would like to talk about that. I think it's good. So Gen Xers is going to go with it as being balanced, you know, a dude who is balanced. But then you talk to Mary Kay Greer and she'll say, I don't trust the King of Cups. I think he drinks. So it's an interesting thing. Peggy Lou, the world, she seems balanced with a baton in each hand. And interestingly, by tradition, she is actually a hermaphrodite. So balanced in that way too. But traditionally, like any of these cards, would traditionally somewhere in some book have a keyword of balance. Would we see that with the King of Cups? Would we see that with the world? I'm not sure. And I'm not saying you can't use those cards in that way. And like, if you think of balance with a particular card that is not one that is, I think, traditionally thought of that way, I'm going to say that that may be a magical omen for you in terms of what you need to bring balance into your life. So like Barbie, how does the King of Cups, the energy of the King of Cups, bring balance into your life? Peggy Lou, how does the world bring balance into yours? And Febborn, regarding the Wheel of Fortune, says, yeah, life is always changing, right? And that's the thing, like, I don't think there's ever a wrong answer with tarot. Like, however it works for you is how it works for you. But if how it's working for you is somewhat non-traditional, you're going to want to ask yourself some questions about that because you might get some good information from that. All right. So when we look at these cards of balance, okay, in a big Venn diagram, the word that would be in the center for all of these cards is balance. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. Well, and Barbie, we are all actively trying to find you exactly that. Sally, good to see you. How about the Four of Swords? That's an interesting one. Can anyone speak to that? Does anyone know sort of any tradition that would put balance as part of the Four of Swords? I don't know, man. I think that's interesting. What do you think? Does anyone else sort of see balance with the Four of Swords? Interestingly, I thought about that one. I think I think it can certainly speak about balance in the sense of you've been taking care of everything else. Now you need to take care of yourself. But I don't think balance would be a key word. But if that comes up for you, Sally, my guess is that is something, however you see the Four of Swords, is something you need to bring balance into your life. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. There it is. All right, so let's talk about these cards, and let's start with the twos. And we'll start with the minor arcana twos here. But interesting to note that these are twos as well. And two is obviously a number of balance for obvious reasons, right? Because two, right? My grandson can count to two. If you've got like crackers or cookies or something, you give him one, he'll say, I'd like two. He knows two. All right. Let's look at the different kinds of balance that we see in these cards. And I'm going to ask for your input, but please tag the card because we're going to move quickly. And if you don't have your cards with you, get them if you can. If you can't, no worries. I'll read for you. But ideally, we're going to be doing some exercises together, and you'll be pulling some cards for yourself if you have them. All right. Sally, do you love that I'm using your favorite deck? I always think about you when I use this deck. All right. What is the balance in the Two of Wands or the Two of Rods? I think the balance there is the balance between, it's like the tension between thinking and doing, where you have to do this thinking, you have to do this planning, you have to figure it out before you can do. So there is that sense of like the balance, right? Oh, Christina, balancing comfort zone between new adventure. And when is it time? When you're done making those plans, stepping in. When is it time to step in? Okay. Other ways that we see balance in the Two of Wands. Oh, this is so nicely said. Kristen Louise, balancing the present and the future. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And I'm going to say too, because whenever you're in the planning phase of something, there's like going to be balancing your dream list with your practical necessities. Like in a perfect world, I'd do it this way, but in the world I live in, I have to do it this way. I think that can come up with this card as well. Do you agree? All right. Lumen twice in one, yes, twice in one day. I was thinking, could this be twice in one day? It probably could be. So good to see you. Oh, Barbie Bird, balancing the external forces and internal forces. Lumen, it's so good to see you. All right. And of course, a special shout out to the members and the moderators. I really appreciate all of you. And if you're here for the first time, you will have to subscribe in order to comment. All right. So what about the Two of Pentacles? What is the balance in the Two of Pentacles? And for me, it's literally balancing the budget. My father used to get paid monthly. And I remember my mother would sometimes say there was too much month left at the end of the money. And so she would have to sort of balance out how we're going to eat and live during that little bit of time. Oh, interesting. Barbie, it's such a yin-yang card for you. Sure, that makes sense. Christina, Two of Pentacles, balancing many aspects of your life and receiving and giving as well. Interesting. Nurturing others versus nurturing yourself for the Two of Pentacles. Really? That's so interesting. I've never seen it that way, but I will from now on. I like it. That's good. Barbie, balancing your resources, sure. Gen Xers, balancing two lives, yours and a care recipient, right? Like if you're doing caregiving or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see it as like, you can't pay all your bills at once, so you pay some bills this week and other bills next week. I can also see it as working more than one job, choosing between two jobs, so balancing like the Ben Franklin list of pros and cons. Which job should I take? I can also see it as like balancing your time between work and school, that kind of thing. Christina, spiritual versus material. Really? That is so, okay. I really want to talk to you because that's a couple of things I never would have seen with this card. Can you say more about that? Like the material, like for me, it's definitely the material and the material. Where do you get the spiritual here? I would love to hear that. That's interesting to me. Now, the concept, because it's within an infinity sign, you see that as spiritual. Now, see, and this is like, I'm such a practical person. That's so funny. For me, the infinity sign is, yeah, you can do this for as long as you need to. It's a juggling act. It's not easy, but you can do it for as long as you want. Never did I see that as a spiritual thing. And it's really got to be, right? Because it's like there are very few places that infinity sign shows up in the weight deck. This is definitely one of them. And I want to say it's the only minor arcana card where it does. Major arcana cards being magician, strength, and world. And so I think you've got a point there. I really do. I think that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, you're absolutely right, Barbie. In the weight image, he's actually dancing. So he's like balancing on one foot and also wearing a really funny hat that looks like a condom, but that's neither here nor there. Sally, you were thinking emotional versus physical, sure. Right, because the ships are trying to stay afloat with a raging sea. So it's a balance of the water and earth. Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely. Yeah, that's brilliant. Really good. Really good. And I love when we can come together to talk about the cards because we can really learn from one another. I just learned a bunch, just things I've never seen before in all of these years. So I really appreciate that. And I hope you feel like you're learning new stuff too. Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. And Sally, I can totally see emotional versus physical here too, with the water, but also just like in balancing resources, emotional energy is also a resource, right? It is. So that totally makes sense. All right. It's true, Barbie Bird. You need some inner core strength to stay balanced on one foot like that. Yep, absolutely, yes. Excellent. Divine timing. Good to see you. Okay, let's move on to the Two of Cups. We are in this moment celebrating the equinox by talking about all the cards that are traditionally cards of balance and talking about how balance shows up in them. And we're learning a lot from each other, getting a lot of new ideas. Okay. Two of Cups, Christina, Two of Cups, give and take, and the give and take that is necessary to a relationship. Absolutely. Two of Cups is the balance of partnership in a lot of ways. Barbie says two very different people coming together, and this can be romance, but it can be any kind of partnership, and it can also be the healing power of love. And I think it's really interesting that the caduceus is here, which is that sign of the chakras and the kundalini energy rising that has been adopted as the symbol of Western medicine. Interesting, but that it's true. And so there's healing here. So how do we see balance? Like we see the balance of a healthy partnership, any kind of partnership. I'm going to say like there is definitely a physical versus spiritual here, because this definitely represents that overarching spiritual energy over us. And then these people are obviously physical. So there's that. What about emotional balance here too? I also see this as a card of self-esteem, which I think really is. Oh, well, let me ask you, is self-esteem the root of emotional balance? I'm going to say it is, because if for no other reason, then that works here, that being in a good partnership with yourself gives you emotional balance. What do you think about that? Ginny says yes. Good to see you, Ginny. Glad you're here. So that feels good. All right. What about the Two of Swords? Where do we see balance here? And, this I see two things specifically. One is simply the balance of decision making. Do I do this or do I do that? And figuring all of that out. Let me just see some comments here. Right, Barbie Bird, deciding between two options. Sure. Martha, in the Hebrew scripture, Moses held a bronze snake on a staff to bring healing to people who had been bitten by poisonous snakes. Something like that. Anyway, snake was healing. Yes. Yes. And interestingly, also in pagan cultures, snake is a kind of healing because it sheds its skin. So it's a sign of transformation. So how cool is that? Thank you for sharing that, Martha. That's fabulous. Oh, interesting. I've never seen that. Christina, there are some decks that have a person looking at themselves in a mirror for the Two of Cups. Self-love. That is fabulous. So good. So good. Here, Barbie, trusting your intuition and trusting yourself to make the right decision. Yep. And that's a kind of balance too. And there is also the balance, remembering that Crowley called this the card of peace. There is the balance between wanting immediate action, wanting to make an immediate decision, and having to wait. So the balance that comes in with patience as well. And so as we talk about this, we recognize that balance is an interesting thing in life. When we talk about emotional balance, work-life balance, being a well-balanced person, it's important. Oh, Ginny, you're right. Two of Swords, card of peace, a balance between enemies. Yeah, absolutely. And it can be a balance between conflicting thoughts. Barbie, the crescent moon makes me think you need to wait for some reason. Yes. That you don't know everything just yet. Yes, agreed. Christina, Two of Swords, quieting your mind, being detached from your emotions to make a difficult decision. Absolutely. Yeah, we've crossed off the heart. We are not to use the heart here. And so there is something here about the balance between head and heart, and that sometimes one has to take the lead. In this case, the head. All right. So now let's look at these major arcana twos. And of course, the High Priestess was Persephone, the star of our story, but she is also card 2 in the major arcana. Oh, Gen Xers, thank you. So how do we see balance in the High Priestess? What do you see there? I'm going to say a few things. First of all, she sits between the pillars of mercy and severity. So the balance between mercy and severity, which I think is very important. Dark versus light, says Barbie Bird. Absolutely. The conscious versus the subconscious, the world of the living versus the world of the dead, what we know versus what we don't know, what we know consciously versus what we intuit. I see all those balances in this card. What about you? Other balances in the High Priestess. Outer knowledge versus inner intuition. Absolutely. And there is something, she traditionally has all of these different symbols: the Torah, the equal arms cross, the crown of the triple goddess, the crescent moon. And so there's something there about like balance of faiths, where it's not like one is superior, right? It's all balanced. And I think, with two, we so often think about a balance between two things: good versus evil, light versus dark. But many things can balance. And I see the balance of the many in here as well. All right. Justice. Maria, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay. How do we see balance in justice? Gen Xers, sacred and profane, both are needed. Was that for the high priestess? That makes sense to me. Okay, Maria, this is an Equinox gathering. We're not doing questions today, except about what we're talking about. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Absolutely. So what about justice? Oh, that's so good. Christina, you get you get a gold star today. You are on it. Cause and effect. The balance of cause and effect. That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. I love that. And I think the idea of like the balance that comes in the macrocosm, the idea that fairness does not exist in the microcosm, but we hope that it will in the macrocosm. Christina, I always think about it as the karma card. What goes around comes around. And it is such an interesting thing because, like, for me, it very often speaks of, like, are you treated fairly? Are you not treated fairly? But also legal stuff, literally legal stuff, buying or selling of property, signing of contracts, and having to go to court. And so there's, there is always, in a court situation, at least two parties, right? And the balance of two parties. Like there's always going to be a relationship. Ginny, equanimity. All people treated the same, right? Equity. This is interesting. This would be equanimity, and this would be equity, if you think about it. What do you think? I like it. Good. Barbie, I was looking at my cards and thinking about karma, and then you said that. Yes. Okay, so now let's look at some of these other cards. There was only one other minor card, and I didn't think about it. Gen Xers, this group is first rate. Thank you. We really are. And I can say that because it's not my doing. I don't know how we managed, but we have created this amazing digital village where we can be really supportive of each other and laugh with each other and learn with each other and have a lot of fun. And I'm really glad that you are here to do that with us. So I hadn't thought about this card, but it certainly belongs here. Six of Pentacles. What is the balance in the Six of Pentacles? Obviously, there's the balance between the haves and the have-nots. But like, how do you balance that out for yourself, right? How do you balance between Six of Pentacles, give and take? Barbie, past and present with the Six of Pentacles. Giving and receiving. Giving and receiving. Giving, but prudently. Okay, got it, Barbie, no problem. Right, so the balance, okay, this is a good one. The balance between generosity and prudence. That's kind of important. The balance between helping others and letting them learn to help themselves. That's here too. Pretty good. Okay. Temperance. So, typically we don't see it in this image, but in the typical weight image, we do see her literally balancing 1 foot on land, 1 foot in water. That we're not really balancing between the two cups. We're doing is an active blending. What we're balancing is the recipe. And we remember that in a recipe, it's not all equal parts. You're not going to put equal parts, salt, sugar, butter, flour. No, it has to be each according to the recipe. So the balance of moderation, Barbie, yup. Balancing for perfection, Christina, yes. Creating the right mix. Christina, balancing what you want. And together, and how long you cook them. It's all of those things are part of the balance. Right, Martha, evaluating the different parts. Absolutely. Absolutely. Barbie, balancing thoughts and feelings. Sure. Gen Xers, temperance. If most of what you do requires willpower, not good. If most of what you're doing is low friction, also not good. Interesting. Right, so that right balance of, like the right balance of stress, in a way. All right. Let's go. This is the highest number we're going to do, and then we'll go to the lower numbers. The star. Was I the only one that saw balance in the star? And I see it only because of water onto water and water onto land. That's where I find the balance. And for me, it is so Christina, the balance of light and darkness. And Gen Xers, I get that. It makes sense. Yes, yes. And also, I think the balance between hope and reality. Seeing light in the darkness. The balance between healing and acceptance. All of that. All right. So now we have 4 more. All right. The Wheel of Fortune. I thought this was a really interesting pick. Balance of luck and bad luck, good luck and bad luck. Again, karma. Like these two cards both have karma as a keyword. So there is a what goes around comes around thing. Yeah. Yeah, also karma. Totally. Totally, totally. And like the balance between where you're on the top and where you're on the bottom, right? No one has it all. Ginny, love the wheel. It will not spin. Oh, so smart. It will not spin properly unless it's balanced. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. Okay, strength. And it's interesting to note that the final 3 cards we're going to talk about are actually numerically adjacent, 6, 7, 8. And I think that's interesting. And I wonder if there's something we can see in this story. Oh, Christina, letting go and let the universe guide you. So the balance between what you do and what you give up to the universe. Yeah, Gen Xers, I agree. Jenny got something like, yeah, that as well. Yeah, I agree. All right, so what is the balance of strength? The balance between ferocity and gentleness. The balance between fierce nature and culture. The balance between instinct and control of instinct. Anything else with strength? Oh, which card, Barbie Bird? Balance in believing in yourself and having the right skills. Which card? Strength. Huh. Okay. I never would have gone there, but I think it makes some sense. I like it. No, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I like it. And honestly, even if I see otherwise, you can still have it any way you like it. There are no tarot police. And if there were, I certainly wouldn't be one. I just like to ask sometimes for justification to see like why. Because like, for instance, today with Christina telling me that she saw spirituality because of the infinity symbol. I love that. Mind blowing. Right. And strength has that infinity symbol as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I would say, Barbie, if you're not sure why you think what you think, it might be that there is some real tarot tradition there, or it might be that there's wisdom specifically for you. That maybe this card has some information for you in how or why or something about yourself believing in yourself. Like that might be a you thing in a very specific way, Barbie. Hey, Dorella, good to see you. Mastering raw emotions, right. Okay. Now, the balance in the Chariot is so interesting, and I will remind you that this card belongs to Cancer. And that's interesting because, you know, how does this crab move? A crab sort of scuttles side to side. The Chariot, the steeds of the Chariot are different colors. So Barbie has home versus adventure, sure. But there's something else because we have opposite forces moving forward in unison. There is something with the Chariot that is extra special when we talk about forward motion, mastery, travel and transportation. There is something special here because of the union of opposing forces that is clear in this card inherently. And, oh, Christina, overcoming emotions to gain control, right? It is so interesting that it is a water card, yet it travels on land. That is good. That is so interesting. So there is something here about like, how do we make these opposite things work? A question that we're asking in our great nation right now. And there is a way to move forward. Gen Xers, you feel like you're going nowhere, but you keep going and find you've progressed. There it is. All right. And the Lovers. How does the Lovers talk about balance? Now, obviously, in a similar way to the Two of Cups in some way, that balance in relationships, right? The give and take in a relationship. But we also remember that the Lovers is an air card and talks specifically about decision-making. And the Lovers talks about communication as well. So, you know, is there something here about balancing communication within a relationship that we have to be able to hear and listen equally? The Chariot, this. It's not with ease, it's with determination. Oh, that's good. Barbie, balance in unions regarding values and beliefs. Interesting. All right. Sarah, good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay, for the Lovers, balance in unions regarding values and beliefs. Yeah, makes sense. All right. So that was our foray into the study of balance in tarot at this important day of balance. So I'd like you to get your cards. And if you do not have a deck with you, let me know and I will try to pull a card for you. So we're going to do 2 questions. It's going to be 1 card. You'll pull 1 card. Tell me the card you got and your interpretation for it. Christina, Lovers, taking the external admiration as a reflection of ourselves. I love that. I love that. All right. You know, there's also something in the Lovers that is a balance between the earthly and the spiritual. because of the way in the weight deck, the man looks at the woman and the woman looks at the angel. So there's that too. All right. So the first question you're going to do, get your cards shuffled. And the first question, on this time of equinox. Okay, Smile Soul 20, I got you. On this time of equinox, how, where do you need balance? How do you find it? Where do you need to, oh no, all 78 is fine. Peggy Lou, all 78. All 78 cards. In this time of balance, how can you harness this balanced energy of the equinox and bring balance to your life? Where does your life need more balance? Pull one card, let us know the cards you got and your interpretation. We are using the energy of balance available to us at this time of equinox and applying it to an aspect of our life. Which aspect? Caroline, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Smile Soul 20, I'm doing you. And it's about emotional balance. It's about the many things that are worrisome and difficult and learning how to find balance between worry and joy. Take the energy of the equinox and bring it in to help you find a balance between worry and joy. Martha, my take on the Hanged one, although I'd like to hear your take too, is balance in perspective. Recognizing that your perspective is a perspective, other people have other perspectives, and somehow that creates balance. There is also something there about finding your balance through introspection. Okay, let's see. Ness. For you, it's work, home, it's work-life balance, it's money, it's all the practicality, it's balance and all the practicality. Take the energy of the equinox and bring it to you in that way. Barbie Bird, I am with you on that. TJ, the Page of Cups. Work on the balance of emotions and being able to share what you're feeling. Balancing between what you keep to yourself and what you share with others. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Let's see. Sarah, I got you. Christina, 6 of Cups. Honoring my inner child and balancing it with my old self. I love that. I love that. Sarah F., here we go. Hey, you got one of the balance cards too. So it's about balancing everything you need to do to be happy and everything you need to do to be healed. I mean, I know there's some things that won't heal in some ways, but balancing happiness and healing. Okay, so many good readings. And Martha, without knowing all the traditional meanings, to me it signifies the struggle to find balance in a job and world that can turn me upside down. That's fair. That's fair. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Very good. So now I'd like to do another question. So Danny, we're doing a very specific question. And if you have your cards, I want you to read for yourself. If you don't have cards with you, I'll be happy to do it. And the question is, at this time of equinox, where do you need to take the balance energy that is available to us and apply it to your life? So let me know. If you've got a deck, Danny, go ahead and do it. If you want me to do it for you, I'm happy to do it. Rebecca picked a really bad time to repaint my nails. That's funny. Pull Death, keeping my balance during some transformations. Yeah, makes sense. Peggy Lou, Page of Swords. Balance between what you know and what you need to learn, and balance between what you say and how other people are hearing that. And are you responsible for that? Like if you speak the truth and other people can't hear that, are you responsible for that? Sally, it's all about balance in your own integrity and trusting yourself, having faith and trust in yourself, Sally. Hey, Queen, good to see you. Jenny, Jenny, I think there's something there about your creativity as well. All right. So let's move on. And we're going to do one more question. Maybe, I think we only have time for one more. Yeah, good, Sally. Good. And this is about how we enter the new season. Oh my gosh, Peggy, so true. While shuffling, the Two of Swords fell out. Makes sense. Okay, we are each entering a new season. Some of us are entering spring, some of us are entering autumn, but we are all entering a new season. And so the question is simply, Caroline, Page of Cups. So the balance between what your heart wants to say and what you should say. How about that? I like it. All right, so now, as you enter a new season, whichever season you're entering, as you enter a new season, what do you need to know? As you step into a new season, what do you need to know? Smile Soul 20? Caroline's like, yes. Okay, Smile Soul 20, I know you don't have your deck, so I'm going to do you. Anyone else who requested, I probably will not remember. So again, if you need help with interpretation or you need me to pull a card, go ahead and ask, but Smile Soul 20, I remember you. So Smile Soul 20, and I know you're in Connecticut. So as you step into spring, there will be changes this season. And some of those changes may be scary, but I think it will take you to a good place because it will take you to a place that is a firmer foundation. So do not be afraid of change this season, Smile Soul 20. It may be hard, but it will bring you to a good place. Okay, let's see. Christine Rimme, no deck, I got you. As you enter a new season, you want to do it with an optimistic attitude. Say yes more than no in this new season. Okay. Martha, you got the 10 of Pentacles. As you enter this new season, know how well you are doing, how much you are loved, and how well you will be taken care of. Seriously. Mary, the question is what you need to know as you step into a new season. Okay, Danny. Oh, I am so sorry you've gone through a loss. I can't do that for you here today. On Saturday, I'm usually here at around 12:30 and I can handle all questions, but I can't do that today. Okay, Ness, and I'm sorry for what you're going through. Ness, Madiha Ness, enter a new season, trusting yourself and believing that maybe it could go well. Oh my gosh, Barbie, you got the 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, Martha, you should love that. Oh, Caroline, heading into autumn, you got the Page of Wands, 2 pages today. So much about communication and learning, and in this new season, creativity. That's beautiful. Oh, Jenny, Ace of Pentacles, I love that for you. Gen Xers, Queen of Wands, love that. Yeah, Danny, we are all very sorry to hear about this. Oh, Peggy Lou, Ace of Swords, use my brain and logic. Yeah, and be willing to embrace, Peggy Lou, new truths, new ways of thinking and new ways of doing things. things that maybe have not always been true. Be willing to embrace those things. All right. Anybody else? Mary, I got the Hermit. Oh, Virginia, that is so kind of you. Virginia, thank you so much for being a member, and thank you for an incredibly, incredibly generous super sticker. Really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you. So Mary, the Hermit, embrace wisdom, embrace your knowledge, and embrace a job that will actually let you use your brain without a micromanaging boss. Jackie, first question, 10 of Cups. Yeah, absolutely in a good place. Yes. Second question, the Chariot, need to stay balanced as I move into a new season, but also recognize, Jackie, you have the mastery to do what you need to do. Okay. Ginny, thanks for holding this space for us. Well, thanks for help making it fiscally appropriate for me to do so. Thank you. That's very generous. Very appreciated. Rebecca, the Fool. Well, how perfect is that for me, trying to make transformations and for spring? Oh, that is beautiful. Sally, Queen of Wands reversed. As you step into, because you're a very creative person, as you step into this new season, allow yourself time to rest so that your creativity can come forward. Hey, Justine. Okay, yeah, sure. So hang on, here we go. So we actually did 2 cards, Justine. We did a card for balance, how you find balance in your life. Since this is the day of balance, we only get 2 a year. We can take that energy and bring it to us. How can you do that? In what part of your life do you need to do that? You need to find balance with your family history and family energy, and who you are differentiated from that. And as you step into this new season, you need to be able to put the past in the past and open up to wonderful new things, Justine. Absolutely. All right, my friends. In our time together, we have swept away what no longer serves us. We have told the story of Persephone using tarot cards. We have studied the cards of balance in tarot, and we have used tarot to guide us into this new season. I am so grateful to all of you for being here. Going to some feedback here. Sally, I think that makes sense. Rest and creativity is what you need. Absolutely. Oh, Justine, 10 of Cups this morning as well. Yeah, reversed. Understood. My friends, I haven't put the links up yet, but I will be back tomorrow for a wrap-up card for your Friday weekly wrap-up, and of course, Saturday for your Saturday Psychic Sampler. You may catch me on some pop-ups as well. I am grateful to all of you Gen Xers. Gen Xers is a brand new member and has just helped out with a generous super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. A real blessing to all of you as we enter this new season. The blessings of balance in all the ways that you need balance, and the blessings of light and dark as you need to have them in your life. May all of those blessings be yours. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you all. I'll hope to see you tomorrow, and I'll certainly see you soon. Take care.